Going on, my fellow warriors of Troy? Achilles here. So today we're going to be taking a look at a deck I made for the TCG Force of Will. It is a active card game that can be played online and in person. Um, I would say that it's basically like Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh put together, combines the best of both worlds and makes the perfect game. But I'm also burnt out on Yu-Gi-Oh, so I would say that because Yu-Gi-Oh is just too much now. Um, But yeah, I wanted to make a deck profile today for Violet, which is this beautiful ruler right here. She's one of my favorite rulers. Violet, the Atomic Automaton. She is a very fun ruler. She's 2 red to Judgment, which means she turns into this right side here if she's flipped by paying the 2 red. But she has a special ability. Let's look at that. You pay 1 stone of any color to draw a card, then discard a card, and you get to play this ability only once per turn, which means you can play it on your opponent's or your turn. Best used situationally or however, but all in all, still a really good ability. But we're going to be taking a look at this today. So if you don't mind, go ahead and go down below, leave me a like, leave me a comment, and don't forget to subscribe, and we'll dive into it. So the website we're using today is called Force of Wind. It is a active website that you can use to build decks and search up cards. So let's say we want to look up, I don't know, fairies, fairies. Well, let's look up angels. It'll bring up everything related to angels all the way down. It'll give you everything you need for anything you want to play, Cthulhu's, all kinds of stuff. You have your advanced searches for any kind of sets, divinity, anything that you want to look for. It's all right here. And then if you do deck list searches, you can type in any ruler and it will bring up everything for Wanderer. It'll bring up Arcana Battle, which is ABC. You can play Paradox, so on and so forth. Very, very decent website, I would say, to use. And then you get to create new decks and have them all right here. But today, like I said, we're going to be looking at a fun deck that I built called Baha Reanimation. So this was kind of something that I put together last minute, and it wasn't even because it was kind of like a funny deck to be built. And then right as I made this deck, Masterpiece '03, which is going to contain new support for my beautiful, beautiful Violet, is coming out pretty soon. So it hurt my heart to make this deck without the new stuff in it. But again, just a kind of gimmicky deck. We're going to go over it real quick, and I'm sorry if you stop hearing audio from me for just a second. My mic has a habit of cutting off while I'm doing videos, so if you lose audio from me for just a minute, all good. I'll turn it back on. We'll continue. I'll apologize, whatever. But again, we're going to run over Baja Reanimation. So again, this is kind of like a gimmick deck. You're going to want to run 3 of the Tiny Violet. This card gains, the ruler's name in addition to its other names. On its enter, you put up to 2 target Atom chants from your graveyard into your hand. So for new players, it means you can grab any one of these atoms, put it back into hand if you've used it already. If you paid the will for it to play it, since it has quick cast, it can be played on in any instance at instant speed, or if you discarded it off her ability by paying 1, you can grab any 2 of these back to hand, and then she taps to draws a card and then discards a card, but you don't have to pay anything for that, just like you do with Violet, but it's still the same ability. You draw 1, discard 1. And these effects will go off instantly the minute they're discarded to the graveyard by either Tiny Violet or Big Violet. It's worth it. Horn of Sacred Beast, it's kind of like a fun thing for me to play if my graveyard ever gets low or my deck ever gets low and I'm about to run out of cards. Just Horn, put everything in my graveyard back in my deck, shuffle it, and cool. May no longer have a graveyard, but at least my deck's refilled and I can't run out. Only get to do it twice, but it's all good. Atomic Bahamut. So this is the main lizard. This is what you're going to want to be playing. Uh, Let's look at this card. As you play this card, you may remove any number of atoms in your graveyard from the game. You may pay one less to play this card for each card removed this way, which means you have to remove 5 different named atoms from the game, and it reduces his printed cost, which is 5, which makes him 1 red to play. So he's 1 red to play if you remove 5 different atoms with different names. On his enter, he gains swiftness, precision, flying, first strike, and pierce, which means he can swing the turn he summoned in. He can attack a resonator that hasn't blocked yet. He can't be blocked by anything that doesn't have flying. His damage strikes first, and he does damage to whatever is the difference between their defense and your attack. They take that remaining damage. On his enter, J/Resonators your opponent controls lose all abilities, which means they lose flying, they lose barrier, because it's a board effect. It's not targeting, so it's a just massive board wipe, and it deals 4,000 damage to them. So it just basically nukes off any resonators that might be in your way, and they cannot chase to the ability. Now, fun fact about this, though, they might not be able to respond and chase the ability on his enter, but they can respond to Atomic Bahamut as a spell being cast. Okay? The effect would still go off, but they can respond to him. Now, if they can like board like what is that? I would say it's like a board target instead of just a single target. If they board target to make everything lose abilities, he would get targeted. Or if they cancel his spell, it would go through, but the enter ability would still go off. I think. Not entirely sure. I got to double check on that. Relearning the rules since they updated everything, so this is kind of new to me. But yeah, you're going to want to play 2 of those. And now this is where the reanimation comes in. It's kind of like your infinite nuke setup. So like I said, you're going to want to run 2 of Atomic Bahamut. You're going to want to run 2 of the End of the Book and 2 of Statue of the Misty Dragon. This is going to be your staple card to protect Atomic Bahamut. What this is it's quick cast, which means it can be played at instant speed at any time in response to either your opponent trying to get rid of Bahamut, whatever the case may be. You get to choose one and put this card on the bottom of its owner's deck as it resolves. So you get to choose one of these 2 abilities, and this card will go to the bottom of your deck as it resolves. It does not go to the grave. You're going to want to choose the first ability. Remove target non-magic stone, non-J ruler entity from the game at the next end of turn. Put it from a removed area into the field under its owner's control. Meaning, since you removed 5 atoms from the game with different names, and you paid 1 for Bahamut to put him into the field, if he hits the field, gets rid of everything, still no response. You swing, and your opponent responds by trying to quick cast something in, or tries to deal him damage or remove him from game. You pay the 1 blue to target him, and it will remove him from game. And then when he comes back, you won't have to pay 5 atoms again because he automatically plays himself. And since he counts as a new entity, it will re-trigger his enter effect. So he will regain swiftness, precision, flying, first strike, and pierce. He just automatically comes back in and becomes your nuke once again for the entire board. Now, to put this back in your hand from the deck, this is where End of the Book comes in. Quick cast can be played at instant speed at any point in time. You're going to choose one ability. You're not going to worry about the mastery because you're not going to be able to choose both. But again, with this card, you're going to want to put a card from the bottom of your deck on top and draw it. What did you just put on the bottom? Statue. So it would take this card, put it on the top of your deck, and then draw it off of the first ability here. So you would basically play this to get this back in hand to keep protecting Bahamut. And if something targets him again, remove it. Bahamut's safe. He comes back in, re-triggers the atoms. He gains everything back. And you can continuously do this as long as you have the will. Now, this deck, I will agree, does need to be changed in a way because there's no way to grab this back from grave unless you horn and then cycle really fast through the deck using the draw abilities. But again, there's more support coming out, so I don't think this will be necessary, but this is kind of like a fun gimmick I put together. You're going to want to run 2 of each atom because it limits down having to go over 40 or 41 cards. You're going to want to run 2 Eternal Winds, 2 Brave Forces, 2 Aegis, 2 Magical Loveliness, 2 Dark Prominence, 2 Everfrost, 2 White Gardens, and 2 Gradius. Each one of these does a different ability. This one recovers a magic stone, a singular magic stone. This one gives something barrier, swiftness, and +6. What swiftness does is it means that even though this doesn't have swiftness, if you play her, if you discard it off of Big Violet's effect, and give this, swiftness, she can use the tap ability the same turn she summoned, but only if you give it swiftness. She will also gain +6 to her attack, which makes her a 9/4, and it will also gain barrier, so your opponent can't target her. Now, before this takes effect, for any new players, before this takes effect, they can target her to get her out of the way so this doesn't attach to her. So be wary of that. It's purely situational, and you'd be very lucky if they don't target her to get her off the field because she is a really good staple for this deck itself. Magical Loveliness. You get to tap down a Resonator, deal 400 damage to your opponent. So if your opponent swings, you discard this off an ability. It'll rest it so the battle swing never happens, and then you just get a free 400 damage. Aegis pretty much explains itself. It just destroys something, and then, or you can target an addition, just get it off the field, so it's one less thing helping your opponent. Dark Providence destroys a Resonator. Everfrost allows you to draw a card. White Garden gives you 1,000 life, and Gradius can make J/Resonators, which includes the J ruler. That's why it says J/Res. Lose all abilities until end of turn. So they'll lose Terrifying, they'll lose Swiftness, Barrier, they'll lose it all because it's a board target, not a singular target. Or well, it is a singular target. So if you target something with Barrier, it wouldn't go off. But if you target something without Barrier, if it has like Flying, Swiftness, any of the other stuff, it would go through. And then it deals 800 damage. So if you chose something that has like 600 defense, the Resonator would die. All right, so you want to run 2 of each atom. Now, Maria Bella, this alternative card is a really, really good staple. It just got unbanned. I think it's the main staple of the deck, honestly. But you're going to mainly want to play this for heart-to-heart talk. With heart-to-heart talk, it's one will of any color. Doesn't matter what stone you use, but it's one will of any color. When you play this, you'll draw a card, and then this card removes itself from the game. This card gains each turn. You may pay 1 less to play the first activate ability of a ruler you control as long as it is removed from the game. Okay, this doesn't happen if you have 2 rulers, and it's only the first ability if you have 2 rulers. But since you only run 1, Violet's effect becomes free because it's no longer 1. So heart-to-heart talk is a must in this deck. Okay, so you draw the card, it removes itself, and then Violet's effect becomes free. Now, Maria Bella, you can also play this, as it says, from your removed area. On its enter, you may search your deck for a machine card with a total cost of 1 or less and put it into the field, then shuffle your deck. Okay, so you can search for Tiny Violet, or you can search for Improved Healing Robot. Now, with Improved Healing, this is the thing with this deck. If you play this needs to be like a last resort. Or if you have the other heart-to-heart talk in your hand. But if you play Improved Healing with that card removed, it will put heart-to-heart talk back in your graveyard. It will put it in your graveyard, and it will remove the pay 1 ability from Violet because it counts as the removed area. But when you put the cards from your removed area into your graveyard, you gain 400 life for each. So if there's 5 cards, multiply that by 4. 5 times 4 is 20, so you gain 2,000 life. So be careful if you use this. This needs to be like a last resort, and especially if you have like this one in your hand, keep one in hand or cycle really fast through or pop a horn because it'll shuffle everything in your graveyard back to your deck. Just as soon as you do this, put it back in the deck somehow or back in your hand. You can adjust this deck list. Just be wary. Okay. Again, it's a gimmick deck. We got new support coming out. This is kind of like a funny haha. Improved burning. Let's take a look at this. I know I'm moving really fast through this, but I have a limited amount of time, so I don't want my mic cutting off before then. Improved burning. It's a 2-cost red. He's a resonator machine. He has swiftness, which means he can swing on the turn he is summoned. On his enter, put any number of target atom chants with different names from your graveyard into your hand, which means you, as long as you have, like, let's say, Brave Force, Aegis, Magical Loveliness, and Dark Providence in your hand, you can grab those four from the graveyard and add it to your hand. And then whenever this card attacks, you may reveal those atoms. You can reveal those four with different names, and he gains 2/1/1 counters on this card for each card revealed this way. So you revealed four, like I just named. So it'd be 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, and then add the three to it. So it'd be 12, 12. He's a permanent 12, 12. And you can do this again on the next turn to get even more atoms. Or if you have more atoms in your hand to reveal, you can add that atom with the ones you just revealed and permanently boost him by another 8 or 9 again. And he'll just keep getting stronger. People tend with this deck or this ruler in general know to target Tiny Violet. They'll target Improved Burning really bad, and they'll make sure for definite to try to target Bahamut to keep him from hitting the field. So you got to be really situational with how you use the atoms. But highly recommend playing Improved, Bahamut, Tiny Violet, and Heart to Heart. Really good cards still. We covered Statue. Now, the two funny gimmicks I put in this deck are Morgiana, which a lot of people kind of forgot about. She's kind of like that one little thing that just kind of hides in the background. She's a 1 green human resonator that is a 3/3. If you would draw a card in a phase other than the draw phase, you may look at the top 3 cards of your deck, put one of them into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So this is where this gets funny. You play her if you have whenever you have Tiny Violet on the field. And then in response, like let's say my opponent wants to try to target Tiny Violet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tap Tiny Violet to draw a card, and instead of doing one card, it replaces the effect with Morgiana's to draw the top 3. You would put one of those 3 in your hand, and then the rest go to the bottom of the deck, and now you still have to discard, so it's always good to keep an atom in your hand. So you get a free card, and you get to discard one to get an ability to go off to either target, get something barrier, recover a stone, however it works. It's still like a faster scry, I would say. It's a faster scry to kind of look through the deck. Makes it easier to go through instead of doing one card per turn. And then here is the second one. So Firestorm is basically like Bahamut. You remove 5 different atoms from your grave, and the cost becomes 1 red. So use different names, and this card will deal X hundred damage to target player or J/Resonator, where X is 4 multiplied by the number of atoms with different names in your removed area. So let's say you have 5 different named atoms removed. It does 400 damage, so that's 2,000. Now you're going to want to run 2 Raging Messiahs, and I would highly recommend only playing these 2 whenever your opponent's tapped out. So whenever you do your 2,000 damage with Firestorm, burn them and then pay 1 red to discard this card to the graveyard, and it will double the damage dealt. So you're basically dealing 4,000 damage for 1 burn on 2 red, on a 2 cost red. So 1 red for discard, 1 red to play because you removed 5 different atoms. 4,000 damage. You can't beat that type of burn. It's crazy, but very situational, and only if your opponent's tapped out. It's kind of like your last resort. Now, there are stones that go with this deck, the Atom Stones, but I don't think it's worth banishing the card because it's too much to try, in my opinion, to try to set up to bring stuff back from the grave that specifically targets special magic stones to throw them back in the magic stone deck. So I would recommend running Secret Stone of the Mysterious Moon. You get to foresee a card, which means you get to take the top card of your deck, look at it, and if you don't like it, throw it to the bottom. And if you do, keep it where it's at, keep it on the top. But it lets you basically look at the top card of your deck for free. And then it produces 2 different will. So it produces your red and it produces your blue, which is mainly what this deck is. Besides the main colors of the atoms, it's just mainly red blue. So secret stone of the mysterious moon you want to run 4. I mainly play with friends, so I understand that this is banned. If you want to stick to actual, you know, legal list, you can change these up. But since I only play with friends, I run Magic Stone of 6 Sages. If you tap Violet and this stone comes up, it will recover her and this stone comes online. So it will produce 1 will, but it will also produce 1 will of any attribute, which means it can produce red, white, blue, green, black. It can produce all of them. So really good stone to run. And you want to run 2 of the Ragnarok's fiery stone. Since your ruler's not Ragnarok, this stone's going to come in rested if it hits the field. But on the next turn, you won't have to tap Violet to call a stone. You just call a stone in, and it doesn't cause your ruler to rest. So she's up, and it keeps your 6 sages online because if your ruler is tapped and this stone is in play, it only produces 1 void. It doesn't produce any color. It's a straight void stone. So be careful. And if you hit Ragnarok, awesome, great, cool, whatever. But you want Ragnarok to be able to keep your 6 sages online, and this card also produces 1 will of any of the 5 attributes, along with the 6 sage. So you've got complete color board, complete color board stones here. You're good to go, ready to go. Everything's cool. But again, like I said, if you want to run a more standard list that doesn't play with anything banned, if you're playing with more than friends or you're trying to go to tournaments, you're going to have to change these out. But again, if you're playing with friends for funny lulls, I would highly recommend Six Sage. It's good for all around purpose, especially with Ragnarok stones. So, but I know I moved really quick through that. I understand. I just didn't want my mic cutting out uh, before I got through the deck list. Um, if you would like to see more content like this whenever I can, leave me a comment down below on what you would like to see next. And let me know if you like the video. Leave me a like and don't forget to subscribe. We'll be doing more on this whenever the Violet support comes out and we're able to see it and actually put it in the deck. Um, so we'll remake this video and do it again. I'm also going to be making a video on a deck I recently started playing called Mistletoe. She is extremely fun. So we're going to make a deck list on her too, but I just wanted to cover Baha today. So, like again, don't forget to leave me a like. Don't forget to leave me a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Appreciate all the love and support, and I will catch you guys later.